Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to the Friday edition of Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 Television, live on YouTube as well as on Facebook. It's a pleasure to come your way again with another exciting edition of the show where we put Ghana first in all of our conversations. On today's show, a big one. Kyebi Hene Osaberima Mafo Kwabrani is challenging Professor Frimpong Boateng to prove that an NPP youth organizer excavated illegally gold near the residency of the president at Kyebi in the eastern region. We hear from him following the busing of journalists from Accra yesterday to the eastern region town of Kyebi to ascertain the claims as made in that explosive 36-page report by the former Environment, Science and Technology Minister, Professor Frimpong Boateng. When we return from the short break, we'll be hearing as well from Lands Minister Abu Jinapo, who's been defending the president's fight against illegal mining. All of this and more on today's edition of Let's Talk Ghana. I am Eric Mawina Egbeta. We return shortly. You're welcome back to Let's Talk Ghana, where we put Ghana first in all of our matters and all of our conversations. It is live every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The comment section is yours to leave a message for us on the stories we bring to you, the conversations that we continue to have on the show, and also to be interactive as well. Much later in the show as well, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, the local chapter of Transparency International, they've been wading into that whole report, the 36-page report by Professor Frimpong Boateng. And that's where we're starting this show today, because that report, which came out somewhere last 2 weeks, is continuing to remain strong in all of the conversations here in the country. It's been the center of attraction for the opposition NDC, who held a news conference on Tuesday, where we brought you details of on Wednesday here on Let's Talk Ghana. That conversation is brewing, and element of it which disclosed that an NPP youth organizer in the eastern region mined gold close to the residency of the president at Kyebi in the eastern region. That element, or that portion captured in the report, has become topical today. Why do I say this? Well, journalists from the presidency were bussed to Kyebi in the eastern region to ascertain the claims as captured in the report. And then just on your screens, you're going to begin to see pictures, videos roll on your screens, providing details as to that visit and the scenery at the presidency. And so that trip, with the videos now showing on your screens, proved by the visit of these journalists that there had been no mining undertaken at the residency of the presidency, or close to it. In fact, you see behind the house of the president, Kyebi in the eastern region as well, and the videos really seeking to paint the picture or ascertain the veracity of the claims as captured in that report by Professor Frimpong Boateng. So I'll just let the video play just a short while. I'll return with some more for you here on Let's Talk Ghana. Let's just see excerpts of what was captured on the screens or on the cameras by these journalists when they visited the residency of the president at Kyebi in the eastern region. those are videos, and in some instances, capturing the premises, the garden in question, which the presidency or the report captured as reclaimed behind the house, a reconstruction, the walls and everything. The chief of Kyebi as well, Saberima Mafo Kwabraning, he made his way to the presidency, the president's house, when the journalists visited as well, and he spoke to journalists seeking to coil or put to bed the claims as captured in the report by Professor Frimpong Boateng. Let's listen to him and exactly what he said, or he told journalists who traveled from here in Accra to Kyebi in the eastern region seeking to verify for themselves these claims.
Professor Frimpong Boateng has made some allegations saying that illegal mining took place here close to the president's residence and destroyed part of the president's garden in his residence. We've seen the garden. Nothing suggests that something of that nature took place. But you are the Kyebi. What is your reaction to this?
We have joined you to witness the whole thing, that there's nothing like that here. And that's why I'm here with Kyebi Executive, who is the body of Ochenhini cabinet. So all these members are here, Kyebi people, and they are Kyebi Executive. Ochenhini is not here. And so far as I'm here, as son of Ochenhini, I have to join you. And the president is my nephew in traditionally. So I have to be with you and clear his name. So we wish we'll go around with you, all the corners, and make sure you take every picture of the president's house. Then you show it to the whole world that what Professor Frimpong Boateng is saying is wrong. It's totally wrong. There's nothing like that. So you publish the whole thing. So that's here. I'm here with you to make this allegation as it's a wrong allegation. So we'll go around and we'll make everything clear. Then we'll publish the whole thing.
But how does the traditional authority feel about it? Your son, the president, is being dragged into this, situation.
We are very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable, especially the Kyebi and then the tradition. We are very uncomfortable. It's unprecedented. It's very, very bad that a man who has struggled for almost 45 years to build his name, and now, as he's about to leave the presidency, they are trying to destroy him. It's very, very bad. It's very, very bad. And very, very bad. And it goes against the throne. The man has built his name. He has built himself. And with this little thing, the man he has helped you, and now you are destroying him. What is that? All the people that he has helped them, they are trying to destroy his reputation. And that's wrong. So we are here to make sure that we go around with you. And all the corners, we check that if there's any hole or anything here, then we publish it into the whole world. For the whole world to see that the man is decent and clean.
So if you are exonerating the president, will you be making any demand from Professor Frimpong Boateng?
And then he should come here and show you where he saw it. That he come and show you where he was doing that galamsey. You should come here and prove to us and prove to the whole world. And prove to the whole world my nephew is out of that thing. You should come here. We will come here and you come and see the whole thing. We need Professor Frimpong himself to come and direct you people, all the journalists, that there's a place Kufadu was doing galamsey. Then he proved to us. Then he crossed our statement that all we are saying is wrong. So we wish that that man will come here and make a fair statement to the whole world. But we are here to prove to the whole world that there's nothing like that in President Resident.
The money that he comes here, he won't come naturally.
But he can send somebody.
Anything the traditional council will do to drag him here.
Oh, this thing has been a political level. So we don't want to get ourselves involved. We are here because of your presence here. That's why we want to make sure we join you to clear this thing. Because we can't go into political level. But here, as you have come, we have to train you to make sure that all what you are come to do will be successful. Then you publish into the whole world. Then the whole world will see that what they are saying is wrong.
But again, illegal mining or galamsey is quite an issue across the country, eastern region, not.
Oh, it's an issue. It's an issue.
Has the traditional authority done much?
Ochenhini has been fighting for it. Even me myself, we have been going around here and chase them. When we go to my palace, I will show you some of the machines we have seized. I'll show it to you. We have been doing about all these things. We are not tolerating those things. But it's only people are trying to distort facts. When we go to my house, there's a lot of machines they are using to do all this thing. Watching has been hammer everything, every day like that. They should not entertain that kind of thing. So nobody is doing this kind of thing. But when you say people don't believe you, but because of Ghana police have become cheap, everybody is trying to destroy somebody. That's the whole thing. Yes, that's the whole thing. So I wish we would go around into the corners and you check yourself. And then from here, we go to Ochenhin Palace. Then you make sure too that there's nothing like that there. Maybe he will turn it to Ochenhin, another statement. So we won't, as you have wasted your fuel and come here. From here, we'll go to Ochenhin Palace. And
so that's Osabere Mafo Kwabrani, the chief of Kyebi. The Kyebi Hini, really, that's how you're supposed to call it in the right way, the Akan parlance, but in English, the chief of Kyebi. He took journalists as well to his residency, where he sought to explain and provide a lot more evidence stating that illegal mining is not happening in Kyebi, and stating quite clearly as well, as you heard in the audio, that they are continuing to seize mining equipment in the area and they are fighting Galamsey. So it cannot be the case that illegal mining is happening there. So that video as well will be displayed on your screens right now, where he's taking journalists through around his residency as well, showing them around the place and proving even more that illegal mining is not happening in the eastern region and the Kyebi town, to be specific. But it's nice though, the building, pretty nice, as you can see in your shot, and the traditional drums and the lights which are captured by the cameras there. He's not the only one who's been defending the president and his fight against illegal mining. The Lands Minister Abu Jinapo as well, at a news conference yesterday, speaking to the media, also sought to defend strongly the president's fight against illegal mining. And so we'll hear from him as well, but it appears the defense is coming in thick and fast following this report by Professor Frimpong Boateng. But it's interesting to note as well that the report was on the desk of the president for 2 years and nothing was done. That's an interesting aspect in all of this that, as viewers, we need to continue to keep in our minds. But let's hear from Abu Jinapo now, Samuel Jinapo, who spoke to the media in relation to this, stating quite well that the president is committed to dealing with illegal mining in the country.
I want to remain focused. I don't want to be drawn into, if you want, the squabbles of the past and this and that. If there are lessons we have to learn out of that era, we should. And there are, I believe there are lessons that I have taken on board. If there are things that went on which were good, which were positive, which we have to adopt, we should do so. But most importantly, we are dealing with the lives and livelihoods of the Ghanaian people. We are dealing with their environment. We are dealing with their forest cover. We are dealing with their river bodies. We are dealing with their survival. And for me, that is a sacred, noble undertaking that I want to discharge in my modest way with other stakeholders, with my officials at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and several other people who are connected to this fight, for us to be able to make progress. The presidency headed by President Akufo-Addo will not countenance that. The president will not countenance any interference. If there's one person who's been committed to this fight against illegal small-scale mining, it is President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. I've worked with him closely, and I mean closely and closely. And I do know that his commitment to this fight is totally unflinching. And indeed, it will be scandalous, and it will be far-fetched, and it will be impossible for President Akufo-Addo to interfere in the fight against illegal small-scale mining. Indeed, on the contrary, he is the man who is giving me all the courage, who's giving me all the strength, who's giving me all the backing and authority and mandate to go frontal in dealing with this matter. I know the information minister to be a gentleman of honor, and I will never ever in the wildest of my imagination ever come to the suspicion that the information minister will be engaged in an act like that. I'm sure you media people will agree with me, and I think he's a very fine gentleman, decent gentleman, who carries himself very well and does his business with a lot of integrity and
So that's Samuel Abu Jinapor, the Lands Minister, speaking quite clearly in relation to this matter. But there's a lot more from civil society, and they are demanding some action. The local chapter of Transparency International, that's the Ghana Integrity Initiative, they have also in the last 24 hours issued a statement in relation to the happenings since the report was released, and also on the report as well, that explosive, damning 36-page report by Professor Frimpong Boateng. And it's going to just go on your screens now, the statement from the Ghana Integrity Initiative. And they ask a number of questions as well, and they go on to say that the report makes a plethora of allegations that GII demands an urgent, independent inquiry into the veracity or otherwise of the allegations. That's one. Then they go on to say that, fortunately, the report is not a vague recollection of incidents, but mention names of institutions and individuals whose actions or inactions the report perceives as complicit in the illegality and harm being perpetuated in the search of gold. It's interesting to highlight that portion of the statement, because the presidency's response to Professor Frimpong Boateng's report was that it is a vague recollection of actions and things that happened, seeking to trash this 36-page report. Well, Ghana Integrity Initiative says that it cannot be a vague recollection of events because names and institutions are mentioned. Hence, there must be investigations. Then they proceed to say that it is almost a cliche to quote the president's vow to fight small-scale illegal mining. And then they go on to quote that famous quote, "I pledge to put my presidency on the line if that is what it means to end illegal mining." They said, "It is sad to say the president's actions have not kept pace with his rhetoric, leading to waning trust in the president's commitment to the fight against galamsey by all well-meaning Ghanaians." Then they say that they cannot put down Professor Frimpong Boateng because a Shraj report has cleared him and put confidence in Ghanaians that the claims by the professor could be true because he himself is not engaged in illegal mining. And I would have the page as well, the report from Shraj put on your screens, the 117-page report from Shraj put on your screens, which clears Professor Frimpong Boateng. So now the person who's accusing government officials of engaging in illegal mining has been cleared by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. He doesn't have anything to do with illegal mining. That's Shraj's report. And so, according to this statement, which is on your screen now, the Ghana Integrity Initiative statement, which is on your screens now, it gives them confidence that Professor Frimpong Boateng could be telling the truth, and as such, there's a need for investigations. Let's end that statement from Ghana Integrity Initiative and take a break here on Let's Talk Ghana. So they are demanding, based on this background, calling on the anti-corruption state institutions to proactively initiate investigations into the allegations contained in the report and make recommendations on the next step. They welcome the directive of the President for the CID to investigate the matter, but they hold the view that it should be possible for the various investigative bodies to collaborate on the matter just to assuage the fears of Ghanaians. And finally, the President to set up an independent bipartisan commission of inquiry to undertake transparent investigations into the issues raised in the report. That's according to the Ghana Integrity Initiative. And so the calls are loud and very clear that a bipartisan probe be carried out into these matters. The NDC says they cannot trust the CID. That's what they said. So they want special prosecutor and a bipartisan probe in Parliament. Other CSOs have made same claims. Now, the Ghana Integrity Initiative is demanding or calling on the President as well to constitute a bipartisan commission to look into these matters. This is Let's Talk Ghana, here where we put Ghana first in all of our matters. We're going to be staying on the conversation of Galamsey, this time in a different branch. But all of that and more when we return shortly after this break. You're welcome back to Let's Talk Ghana, where we put Ghana first in all of our matters. And before we went on that break, I mentioned that we're going to continue the conversation on Galamsey, illegal mining, and its related conversations. The presidency has written to the investigative department of the global media network, Al Jazeera, demanding a retraction and an apology from them over portions of their gold mafia investigative piece, which highlights a character, one Alistair Matthias, who amongst many things during the investigative piece alluded to taking contracts from the Ghanaian government and giving kickback to government officials, and also making claims as to the president being his one-time lawyer and offering legal services to him. Well, the executive secretary to the president has written to them demanding a retraction and an apology. We're going to put the statement on your screens and walk you through that statement right now here on Let's Talk Ghana, and just to brief analysis on it for you as we try and wrap up today's edition of the show. So that statement should be up on your screens now. Like I mentioned, it's written by Nana Bedie Tuasanti. He's a secretary to the president. And I'll just take you through the statement. And it reads that I'm instructed by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to demand formally that Al Jazeera Media Network retract immediately and apologize for airing an inaccurate and unfair documentary that contains spurious and unsubstantiated allegations against the president and the government of Ghana. It goes on to say that the documentary in question made baseless claims that the president acted as a lawyer for one Alistair Matthias and implied that the president personally benefited unfairly or unlawfully from an alleged $100 million state infrastructure contract purportedly awarded to Mr. Matthias. In his letter dated 11th of April 2023, responding to Al Jazeera's letter on the 2nd of April, which was received on the 6th of April 2023, containing these vague and defamatory allegations, the legal counsel to the president, Mr. Ko Abaka Suman, acting to the instructions of the president, informed Al Jazeera that the president had no recollection of acting as a lawyer, either personally or through his law firm, Messrs. Akufo-Addo, Prempeh & Co., for Mr. Alistair Matthias or his company, Gold Rush Resources. In the circumstances, further and better particulars were demanded from Al Jazeera to respond adequately to the allegations. And the statement goes on that, furthermore, Al Jazeera was requested to provide details of the $100 million tender for state infrastructure allegedly given to Mr. Matthias, which he outsourced and kept a percentage in offshore accounts, as stated in the letter, as well as an information on how the president personally benefited unlawfully from the alleged $100 million tender for state infrastructure. The statement then goes on to say that Al Jazeera refused to provide these details and went ahead to air the documentary. Accordingly, those parts of the documentary are malicious, defamatory, and a calculated attempt to tarnish the reputation of the president and government of Ghana. It is therefore demanded that Al Jazeera withdraws the documentary immediately, retracts, and apologizes to the president and the government of Ghana for airing such unprofessional and defamatory documentary. It is imperative that you act forthwith in the request within 7 days from the date of the receipt of this letter. Please confirm receipt of this letter, and those are details. And like I mentioned, Nana Bedie Tuasanti, secretary to the president, he wrote this, and it's to the Investigative Journalism Directorate of Al Jazeera. So that's the president's response. And the response is very important, as now the NDC is asking that there be investigations from the special prosecutor and then a bipartisan probe by Parliament. Here's what we're going to tease out for you. And the statement will remain on the screens because we're going to tease out some portions for you. And the most important portion, which I want to highlight, is a letter from Al Jazeera dated the 2nd of April, which was received on the 6th of April from Al Jazeera to the presidency. Now, here's what we know as Studio Seal TV about investigative work. So when an investigative work is carried out, any person mentioned in such spurious or defamatory claims are provided the opportunity to respond. The presidency in this letter admits to being given the opportunity to respond, but further demanded better particulars to respond adequately. That's the claim, so that's what is captured in this letter. But there was an initial response that there was no such thing and that there was no immediate recollection of acting as a lawyer, or either through personally, the president doing so personally, or through his law firm. And then they proceeded to ask for better particulars to respond to this. And so it is a bit confusing because Al Jazeera sought to provide the presidency with an opportunity to respond. And these were claims that were made. And if you've seen excerpts of the documentary, what Alyssa Matthias says is that they take contracts from government without avoiding drawing conclusions on these matters. An opportunity was given to the presidency and the president to respond. They did so, but asked for better particulars. It will be important to note what the response of Al Jazeera would be to these latest claims, or this latest response and demand for a retraction and an apology from them by the President of the Republic. But let us know what you think. All of these happenings, all of the controversy, and the Galamsey fight really, do you think enough is being done by this current administration to fight Galamsey? Let us know in the comment section as we wrap up today's edition of Let's Talk Ghana. It's been explosive, it's been interesting. Leave a comment for us. I am Eric Mawena Egbeta, your host. We'll return Monday, a holiday edition again, May Day edition of the show, and bring you a lot more where we put Ghana first in all of our conversations. Until then, stay safe and see you again soon.
Studios 2 TV. The truth is here in your eyes.